The bridge of the Imperial flagship Dominator stretched across the front of the massive warship like a glass crown. Through the curved viewport, 10,000 stars burned in the darkness of deep space. Admiral Korvash stood in the center of the command platform, his red scales catching the light of the holographic displays. He was nearly 9 feet tall, with yellow eyes that had seen the fall of 40 civilizations. His 4 arms were crossed behind his back as he watched the tactical display. "Status report," Korvash said. His voice was deep and calm. Commander Zelth turned from his station. The young officer's blue skin was tense with excitement. "We are approaching the Sol system, Admiral. Long-range sensors are picking up minimal defensive activity. The humans appear to be exactly as our intelligence reported." And what did our intelligence report? Zelth pulled up a file on the main screen. Primitive species. Recently achieved interstellar travel. Their fleet consists of approximately 300 vessels, mostly converted civilian craft. Their largest warship is roughly the size of one of our destroyers. Estimated combat capability, minimal. Korvash made a sound that might have been a laugh. It was a dry, harsh sound. 300 ships against our 2,000. This will not even be a battle. It will be a lesson. The Dominator was the pride of the Krathon Empire, 6 kilometers long, armed with plasma cannons that could crack a planet's crust, shielded with energy fields that had survived direct hits from antimatter warheads. Behind it, 2,000 more warships moved in perfect formation through the darkness. Battle cruisers, heavy destroyers, carrier ships full of fighter craft. It was the largest fleet the empires had assembled in 3 centuries, and it had come for one small blue planet on the edge of nowhere. "Tell me again about the human ambassador," Korvash said. Zelth pulled up a video file. The face of a human woman appeared on the main screen. She was older, with gray hair pulled back severely. Her eyes were steady as she looked into the camera. "Admiral Korvash of the Krathon Empire," the woman said. "This is Ambassador Sarah Chen of Earth. We have received your demand for surrender. We have considered it carefully. We respectfully decline." The bridge crew laughed. "They decline," said Lieutenant Vrak, the weapons officer. He had spikes growing from his shoulders that twitched with amusement, as if they have a choice. We are aware that your fleet outnumbers ours significantly," Ambassador Chen continued. "We are aware that your technology is more advanced than ours in many ways. We are aware that you have conquered every species you have encountered for the past 2,000 years. Despite all of this, Earth will not surrender. We will defend our world." Korvash leaned forward. "She is brave, this human. Or stupid. Sometimes the difference is hard to tell. We do, however, have one request," Chen said. "Before you arrive, we would ask that you take time to consider the consequences of your actions. We have a vessel we would like to show you. An old warship. Outdated by our standards. Decommissioned over 40 years ago. We have brought it out of storage, as a gesture of good faith. Please observe it carefully when you reach our system. Then make your decision. Earth out." The transmission ended. The bridge was silent for a moment. Then Vrak laughed. "They are showing us their oldest junk and asking us to be impressed. The arrogance of these primitives." "Indeed," Korvash agreed. "But we will look at their old warship. Why not? It will make for amusing study material at the Imperial War Academy. The last desperate gesture of a doomed species." The fleet continued forward. Through the viewport, Korvash could see the small yellow star that the humans called their sun. In a few hours, his ships would be in firing range of Earth itself. He thought about how he would handle the conquest. The humans would be useful as a labor force. Their planet had abundant water and minerals. The Empire could establish a forward base here, perfect for expanding into this previously unexplored region. "Sir," called the sensor officer, "I am detecting an unusual energy signature ahead. It appears to be a single vessel, holding position at the edge of the human system. Their old warship? Possibly. The energy readings are very low. Whatever it is barely powered. Korvash nodded. Adjust course. Let us see this museum piece the humans want to show us. The fleet altered course slightly, moving toward the energy signature. As they grew closer, the sensor officer called out updates. Distance, 10,000 kilometers. The vessel is approximately one-third the size of our flagship. It appears to be holding position, not maneuvering. No weapons activity detected. No shield activity detected. Visual. Korvash ordered. The main screen shifted to show a long-range image of the human ship. Korvash studied it with growing amusement. The vessel was indeed old. He could see scarring on its hull from what looked like ancient battles. The design was crude by Imperial standards. Boxy. Functional, without any of the elegant curves that defined Krathon warship architecture. It looked like something a child would build out of metal blocks. This is what they want us to fear, Korvash said. He turned to his bridge crew. Tell me, what do you see? Vrak studied the display. I see an old ship, Admiral. Probably from their early space age. The hull plating is primitive. The weapon mounts are obsolete. I count 6 external cannon ports, but they look small. Probably chemical propellant based. The main thrusters appear to use simple ion drives. This vessel could not match the speed of our slowest cargo hauler. Anything else? The shields are clearly inactive, sir. Either it has no functional shield generators, or the humans have left it unpowered to show that they trust us. Either way, it is helpless. Korvash nodded slowly. And what would happen if we fired upon it? Vrak grinned. It would be vaporized in a single shot, sir. Our smallest fighter could destroy that vessel. Indeed. Korvash paused. He was about to give the order to ignore the old ship and continue toward Earth. But something stopped him. A small voice in the back of his mind. The voice of 40 campaigns of experience. The humans had specifically asked him to look at this ship. They had brought it out of storage. They had positioned it directly in his path. There had to be a reason. A primitive species facing certain destruction would not waste effort on meaningless gestures. Open communication channel with the human vessel, Korvash ordered. Yes, Admiral. The channel opened. For a moment, there was only static. Then a voice came through. It was an old voice, dry and rough like wind blowing across stones. Krathon vessel. This is Captain Marcus Vale of the Earth ship Persistence. I see you have decided to come and look at my old girl. I appreciate the courtesy. Korvash leaned forward. Captain Vale, I am Admiral Korvash of the Krathon Empire. I am here to inform you that Earth will be brought under Imperial control within the next 6 standard hours. Your government has refused our generous offer of surrender. Now they will face the consequences. Yes, said Captain Vale calmly. I heard about that. Sarah Chen sent me a copy of the message she sent you. Bold woman. Always was. You know the ambassador? Old friend. We served together back in the day. Korvash studied the visual of the human ship. He could not see Captain Vale, only hear him. Captain Vale, may I ask why you are positioned here, in the path of my fleet, in a clearly outdated warship that cannot possibly threaten us? Oh, I am just keeping watch, Admiral. Old habit. I commanded the Persistence for 32 years before they decommissioned her. When the Council called me out of retirement 2 months ago, I was happy to come back. We have history together, the Persistence and I. Lots of history, And what is your purpose here, exactly? The old captain laughed softly. It was not a friendly laugh. My purpose, Admiral, is to give you a chance to leave. Earth Command thought it was only fair. We do not want to fight you. We have nothing against the Krathon Empire personally. But you are coming to attack our home, so we have to defend it. Before we do that, we want you to know exactly what you are facing. So they sent me out here to talk to you, to show you my old ship, and to ask you very politely to please turn around and go home." Vrak made a choking sound. He could not believe what he was hearing. The bridge crew exchanged shocked glances. A primitive in an obsolete ship was telling the Krathon Empire to turn around and go home. Korvash, however, did not laugh. Something in the old captain's voice unsettled him. There was no fear in it, no desperation, only quiet certainty. "Captain Vale," Korvash said carefully, "I appreciate your warning, but I must ask you a question. Why do you believe I should turn my fleet around? You have one ship, I have 2,000. Your vessel is outdated. Mine are state-of-the-art. Your weapons cannot penetrate my shields. My weapons can destroy your ship in a single shot. Explain to me why I should retreat." There was silence on the channel for a moment. Then, Captain Vale spoke again, his voice still quiet, still calm. "Admiral, I have been reading reports about your empire for the past month. You have conquered many species. You have a long and impressive history of warfare. I respect that. I really do. So I am going to ask you something, soldier to soldier. Have you ever fought an enemy that was not afraid to die?" Korvash frowned. "Many. Most species fight desperately when their existence is threatened. No, Admiral. Desperation is not the same as not being afraid. Desperate people fight because they have no choice. People who are not afraid fight because they have already accepted their death. There is a difference, a very big difference. Get to your point, Captain." "The point, Admiral, is that humanity made a decision a long time ago. We decided that we would never again be a species that could be conquered. 2 centuries ago, we faced a much smaller threat than yours, and we almost lost our world. After that, we built things, quiet things, hidden things, things we hoped we would never need to use. The Persistence was one of those things. So were her sister ships. So were the weapons we put in places you would never think to look." Korvash's tactical officer had been running scans during the conversation. He suddenly stiffened. "Admiral, I am picking up unusual readings from the human vessel." "What kind of readings?" "Unknown energy signatures. They are not active, but they are there. Strong ones. The patterns do not match any technology in our database." Korvash turned back to the channel. "Captain Vale, my sensor officer is detecting unusual energy readings from your ship. Would you care to explain?" The old captain laughed again. This time it had a different sound, almost sad. "Admiral, I tried to be polite. I really did. I came out here in good faith, and I asked you, nicely, to please turn around. You are choosing not to listen. So I am going to ask you one more time. Will you turn your fleet around and go home?" "Captain Vale, the Krathon Empire does not retreat from primitives." "Yes," Vale said quietly. "I was afraid you would say that." There was a long pause. Korvash could hear the old captain breathing on the other end of the channel. Slow, steady, the breathing of a man who had made his peace with whatever came next. "Admiral," Captain Vale said finally, "I am going to do something now. I want you to watch carefully. I want every officer on your ship to watch carefully. After it is done, I am going to give you one last chance to leave. I hope you take it. I really do." "What are you doing?" "I am decloaking, Admiral." Korvash blinked. "Decloaking?" "Captain, your ship is already visible. Our sensors have been tracking you for the past hour." "You have been tracking what we wanted you to see, Admiral. The Persistence has been operating at 0.1% power since you arrived. I am about to bring her up to full operational status. Please watch carefully." Vrak leaned forward. "Sir, his power readings are climbing rapidly." The visual of the human ship began to change. Around the small, primitive-looking warship, the air seemed to ripple, like heat waves rising off a desert. Then the ripples spread outward, and the small ship began to grow. It did not grow in the way that a balloon expands. It grew in the way that a sleeping giant rises. What had appeared to be a 1/3 scale warship was an illusion, a holographic projection. As the projection faded, the true persistence revealed itself. The bridge of the Dominator went silent. The ship that emerged from the cloak was not a third the size of Korvash's flagship. It was not the same size. It was 4 times larger. A massive vessel, 24 kilometers long, dark and angular, and bristling with weapon ports that had not been visible before. Its hull was scarred from 1,000 battles. Each scar was a story. Each story was a warning. "Impossible," Vrak whispered. "That cannot be a human warship, Lieutenant," Korvash said quietly. "What are our sensor readings?" Vrak looked down at his console. His hands were shaking slightly. "Sir, the vessel is reading at full power now. Energy output is..." "Sir, the energy output is 10 times higher than our flagship. Their weapon systems are coming online. I am detecting at least 3,000 individual weapon ports. Their shields are activating. The shield strength is..." "Sir, Avi speak, Lieutenant, sir. Their shield strength exceeds the combined output of our entire fleet." Korvash stared at the screen. The persistence floated in space before him, no longer hidden, no longer disguised. It was a monster, a predator that had been pretending to be prey. He understood now, all at once, what humanity had done. They had built this ship. And then they had hidden it in plain sight. And then they had brought it out to show him exactly what they were. The communication channel crackled. Captain Vale spoke again, his voice still calm. "Admiral, now, you have seen the persistence. She is 47 years old. She is, as I said, an old warship, decommissioned long ago. Earth has built much newer vessels since she was retired, but even at her age, she alone could destroy your entire fleet. She would not even need to charge her main weapons twice." Korvash did not respond. He could not. His mouth had gone dry. "There are 40 more ships like the Persistence in active service today, Admiral. They are positioned around Earth. They are positioned around our colonies. They are positioned in places you have not even thought to look, behind moons, inside asteroids, in deep space, dark and silent and waiting. They have been there for decades. We have been waiting for someone like you for a very long time." Korvash finally found his voice. "Captain Vale, the Krathon Empire has a choice to make right now, Admiral. You can turn your fleet around and go home. We will not pursue you. We will not retaliate. We will simply forget this ever happened. Or you can continue forward, in which case, the Persistence will fire her first salvo in approximately 90 seconds. And then 40 more ships like her will join the engagement, and then your empire will end. Tonight, in this system, around the small blue world that you thought was helpless." Korvash looked around his bridge. His officers stared at him with wide eyes. The proud Krathon warriors, who had laughed at the human ambassador an hour ago, were now silent and pale. "Make your choice, Admiral," Captain Vale said softly. "But please, make it quickly. The Persistence is old, and her targeting systems sometimes lock automatically when they detect prolonged hostile presence. I would prefer not to have to apologize to your widow." For the first time in his long career, Admiral Korvash of the Krathon Empire experienced something he had never felt before: doubt, and behind the doubt, something colder: fear. "Helm," he said, his voice quiet. "All ships, reverse course, maximum speed. Take us out of this system." "Sir?" the navigation officer asked, confused. "Now, Lieutenant, now." The Krathon fleet began to turn. 2,000 warships executing a coordinated retreat from a single human vessel that had not yet fired a shot. As the Dominator came about, Korvash watched the Persistence on the main screen. The old warship held position, steady, watching. "Admiral," Captain Vale said over the still open channel, "thank you. Earth appreciates your wisdom. Have a safe journey home." "Captain Vale," Korvash replied. His voice was hoarse. "I have one question. Ask. Why? Why did you not simply destroy us when we entered the system? You had the opportunity. We did not see you coming. You could have ended this without warning." There was a pause. Then Captain Vale spoke, and his voice was tired. "Because, Admiral, we are not the kind of species that destroys others without giving them a chance. We have done terrible things in our history. We have made terrible mistakes. We have killed each other in numbers you cannot imagine. But after all of that, we decided who we wanted to be. We decided that we would build the strength to defend ourselves, but we would not become the thing we feared. So we gave you the chance to leave. We always give that chance. To everyone. Once? Once? Yes, Admiral. Once. If you come back. If any species comes back after we have given them their chance to leave, we do not give a second one. Do you understand?" Korvash understood perfectly. "I understand, Captain. The Krathon Empire will not return." "Good. Take care of yourself, Admiral. And tell your Emperor what you saw here today. Tell him about the old warship that decloaked. Tell him about the 40 more like her. Tell him about all the ships he never saw. Earth wants to be left alone. Make sure your Empire knows that." "I will, Captain. You have my word." The channel closed. The Krathon fleet accelerated away from the Sol system. Behind them, the Persistence held her position silent and watchful. 2 hours later, when the last Krathon ship jumped into faster-than-light travel, Captain Marcus Vale finally allowed himself to relax. He sat back in his command chair and rubbed his tired eyes. "All decks, stand down from combat stations," he said into the ship's intercom. "Power down primary weapons. Take shields to standby." His first officer, Commander Reyes, walked over to him. She was a younger woman with dark hair tied back tight against her scalp. "They bought it, sir. Every word. They did," Vale agreed. "Sir, the other 40 ships." Vale smiled. It was a tired smile. "There are no other 40 ships, Commander. You know that." "I know, sir. There are only 12, and most of them are still in space dock." "Yes. But you told the Krathon Admiral there were 40. "I did, and he believed you." "He did." Commander Reyes was quiet for a moment. "Sir, what if he had called your bluff?" Captain Vale looked out the viewport at the stars. He was an old man. He had seen too much. He was tired in a way that went deeper than sleep could fix. "Then, Commander," he said quietly, "I would have done what we trained for. I would have fired everything the Persistence has, and I would have taken as many of them with me as possible. And after I was gone, the rest of the fleet would have engaged. We would have lost. But it would have been a costly victory for them. Costly enough that they would have remembered. That was always the plan, Commander. Make the cost too high. Even if we lose, we win. Yes, sir. But we did not have to fire today. Today the bluff held. Today we go home." Vale stood slowly. His old bones ached. "Set a course for Earth, Commander." "I want to go home." "Yes, sir." The Persistence turned, her massive engines flaring blue against the dark. The old warship that had been decommissioned 40 years ago, that had been brought out of storage 2 months ago, that had stared down 2,000 Krathon warships and made them turn and run, headed home. Aboard the retreating Krathon flagship Dominator, Admiral Korvash sat alone in his quarters. He had a glass of strong drink in his hand. He had not touched it. He was thinking. Thinking about the human captain. Thinking about the old warship that had not been old at all. Thinking about the 40 other ships and the unknown weapons hidden in places he could not have predicted. He had served the Empire for 60 years. He had conquered worlds. He had made hard species kneel. He had never retreated. Never. Until today. But he understood now what humanity was. They were not weak. They were not primitive. They were something far more dangerous than the Empire had imagined. They were patient. They had spent decades building weapons in the dark, hiding them, preparing them, waiting. They had let the galaxy underestimate them. They had let species like the Krathon Empire grow complacent and proud, secure in their superiority. And the entire time, humanity had been getting ready. The communication panel in his quarters chimed. It was the Emperor's seal. Korvash took a deep breath and accepted the call. The Emperor's massive face filled the screen. Emperor Vorkal was the largest Krathon Korvash had ever seen, with scales darker than blood and eyes that burned like fire. He was not pleased. Admiral Korvash, explain to me why my conquest fleet is returning home, without conquering anything. Korvash bowed his head. Your Majesty, I made a decision. I retreated from the human system. Retreated. Yes, Your Majesty. Admiral, the Krathon Empire does not retreat. Not from primitives. Not from anyone. Tell me why I should not have you executed for cowardice. Korvash looked up. He met the Emperor's burning eyes. Because, Your Majesty, if I had not retreated, our entire fleet would now be debris floating in human space. And the humans would be coming for our worlds next. I retreated to save the Empire, not from cowardice. The Emperor was silent for a long moment. Explain. For the next 2 hours, Admiral Korvash told the Emperor everything. About the holographic deception, about the true size of the persistence, about the 40 more ships waiting in hidden positions, about Captain Vale's calm voice and the warning he had given, about the human philosophy of giving an enemy one chance to leave, and only one. When he was done, the Emperor sat back in his throne. He was quiet for a very long time. Admiral Korvash, he said finally, I am going to do something I have not done in 3 centuries. Your Majesty, I am going to apologize to you for doubting your judgment, and to the human species for the offense we have given them. We will send a diplomatic mission to Earth. We will offer formal apologies. We will sign treaties of non-aggression. We will recognize their sovereignty over their own space. And we will warn every other empire we know to do the same. Your Majesty, Admiral, you did the right thing. You saved us. The Empire owes you a debt that cannot be repaid. Return home. You will be honored. And then, Admiral, I want you to write down everything that happened today. Every detail. Every word that was spoken. We are going to add it to the Imperial War Academy's required reading list, so that future generations of Krathon officers will know what happened the day we almost made a terrible mistake. Yes, Your Majesty. The screen went dark. Admiral Korvash sat in his quarters for a long time. He thought about the old captain. He thought about the old warship. He thought about humanity, and about how easily he had almost destroyed his own empire by underestimating them. The Krathon fleet returned home. The Empire did exactly what the Emperor had ordered. They sent diplomats to Earth. They signed treaties. They warned other species. The Krathon Empire and humanity became, if not friends, at least firm allies. Trade flowed between their worlds. Cultural exchanges began. Krathon officers studied at the Human War Academy. Human officers studied at the Krathon War Academy. And both sides learned from each other. But the most important lesson came years later, when a different empire, the Drelvac hegemony, tried to do exactly what the Krathon Empire had almost done. The Drelvac fleet entered human space without warning. They did not request to speak with anyone. They did not give Earth a chance to respond. They simply attacked. The response was immediate. From hidden positions throughout the Sol system, the Persistence and her sister ships, all 47 of them now, decloaked together. They did not give the Drelvac fleet a warning. They did not give them a chance to retreat. They opened fire. The battle lasted 6 minutes. The Drelvac fleet ceased to exist. There were no survivors. When the news reached the Krathon Empire, Emperor Vorkal called Admiral Korvash, who was now retired and serving as a senior advisor. Admiral, did you see what happened to the Drelvac? I did, Your Majesty. 47 ships now, not 40. Captain Vale told you 40. There are 47 now. They have been building, Your Majesty. They build constantly. They will always build. That is who they are. Admiral, I want you to go to Earth. I want you to find Captain Vale, if he is still alive. I want you to thank him for the mercy he showed our fleet that day, because I understand now. The humans gave us the chance to leave. They give that chance once. The Drelvac did not get the chance. They came back without ever having had the first one, and the humans treated them accordingly. Yes, Your Majesty, Admiral, we must never come back, do you understand? Not as conquerors, not as enemies, not even as competitors. We must always be friends, because there is no second chance. Ever, I understand, Your Majesty. I understood from the moment Captain Vale said it. The Krathon Empire will never come back. Korvash traveled to Earth. He found Captain Marcus Vale in a small house on the coast of a region the humans called New England. The old captain was very old, now sitting on his porch, watching the ocean. His eyes were still sharp, but his body had grown thin and weak with age. Captain Vale, I am Admiral Korvash. I do not know if you remember me. The old captain looked up. He smiled slowly. Admiral, of course I remember you. The Krathon Admiral I sent home that day. You have aged, as have you, Captain. Sit. Tell me why you have come. Korvash sat in the chair next to him. For a while, neither of them spoke. They watched the ocean together. Krathon and human, two old soldiers who had once stood on opposite sides of a confrontation that should have destroyed everything. I came to thank you, Korvash said finally. For what? For not killing me that day, for not killing my fleet, for giving us the chance to leave. Captain Vale was quiet for a moment. Then he laughed softly. Admiral, I have something to tell you, something I should have told you that day. But I could not, because I needed you to believe. What is it? The Persistence was the only ship we had. The only one. There were no other 40 ships. We had 12 total in the fleet, and most of them were not operational that day. Earth was almost defenseless. If you had called my bluff, you would have won. The Krathon Empire would have conquered humanity that day. Korvash stared at him. For a long moment, he could not speak. Captain Vale, are you telling me that I retreated from a single warship? That I led the most powerful fleet in our empire's history, away from a planet I could have easily conquered, because I believed a lie? The old captain smiled. It was a wise smile. The smile of a man who had played the game perfectly. Admiral, you retreated because you believed a truth. The truth was simple. The Persistence alone could have destroyed your fleet. That part was real. That part was not a bluff. Whether there were 40 more ships behind her or 0 more ships behind her, the result for your fleet would have been the same. You retreated to save your fleet. The lie about the 40 ships was just to make sure you saw the big picture. To make sure you understood that we were never going to stop. That we would build and build and build forever until no one would ever threaten us again. Korvash thought about this for a long time. Then he laughed too, a deep, slow laugh, the laugh of a soldier who had been thoroughly outmaneuvered and knew it and could appreciate it. Captain Vale, you are a remarkable strategist. No, Admiral. I am just an old soldier who learned a long time ago that war is not about who has the most ships. It is about who can make the other side believe certain things. We made you believe we were stronger than we were. And by the time we were strong enough that the lie became truth, no one wanted to test us anymore. And now you are strong. Yes, now we are strong. Now we have the 47 ships I told you about, and many more besides. The bluff has become reality. Humanity is no longer pretending. We are what we said we were. The lie has come true. Korvash nodded slowly. I am glad, Captain. I am glad that humanity is strong now. The galaxy is a dangerous place. It needs species like yours to keep it safe. And it needs species like yours, Admiral. The Krathon Empire has been a good ally to humanity for many years now. We are grateful. The two old soldiers sat together on the porch, watching the ocean, until the sun went down. They did not speak much more. They did not need to. They had said everything that needed to be said. Captain Marcus Vale died 3 weeks later, peacefully in his sleep. Admiral Korvash attended his funeral. He stood among the human mourners, the only Krathon present, and he wept. The humans saw him crying, and they understood. They came to him afterward, and shook his 4 hands, and thanked him for coming. They told him that Captain Vale had spoken of him often, that the old captain had been proud of the friendship between their 2 peoples. After the funeral, Admiral Korvash returned to Krathon Prime. He gave a speech to the new graduating class of Imperial War Academy cadets. He told them the story of the day he met Captain Marcus Vale. He told them about the old warship that decloaked and revealed itself as something far more dangerous than it had appeared. He told them about the 40 other ships that had not existed at the time, but existed now. He told them about the human philosophy of giving an enemy one chance, and then he told them the most important lesson of all. "Cadets," he said, "listen to me carefully. There are many species in the galaxy. Some are stronger than us. Some are weaker. Some have technology we cannot match. Some have weapons that frighten us. But there is one species that you must always treat with absolute respect. Not because they are the strongest, not because they have the best technology, but because of who they are, because of how they think, because of what they will do if you cross them." He paused. He looked out at the young Krathon faces. That species is humanity, and the lesson is simple. Never threaten Earth, never invade their space, never attempt to conquer them. They will give you one chance to leave. Take it, always take it, because if you do not, they will come for you, and they will not stop, and they will never, ever forgive. The cadets listened. Some of them did not understand yet, but they would understand someday. The story of Admiral Korvash and Captain Marcus Vale became required reading throughout the Krathon Empire. It became required reading throughout many empires across the sea. The lesson spread, from species to species, from empire to empire. From one corner of the stars to another, the lesson was always the same. Humanity gives you one chance. Take it. Most species took it. Some did not. The ones who did not, the galaxy quickly forgot. Their names were erased from the star charts. Their worlds went silent. Their civilizations became cautionary tales told around campfires by traders and travelers, warnings to young beings who might one day be tempted to test the strength of the small blue world on the edge of the galaxy. A century passed, then 2 centuries, then 5. Humanity grew. They built more ships. They settled more worlds. They formed alliances and trade agreements. They sent ambassadors to every corner of the galaxy. They became one of the most respected species in known space, not because they conquered. They never conquered anyone. They simply existed, strong, patient, watchful, ready. And on a quiet day, in a museum on Earth, in a section dedicated to the history of the Earth Defense Force, a school group walked through the exhibits. The teacher pointed to a model of an old warship. It was scarred and battered. It looked primitive compared to the modern vessels in the exhibits around it. "Children," the teacher said. "This is the Persistence. She was the first ship in the Earth Defense Force. She is very old now, almost 500 years old. She still exists, by the way. She is in our orbit right now, fully operational. We have kept her in service all this time, because she is special." A small child raised her hand. "Why is she special?" The teacher smiled. "Because, sweetheart, a long time ago, a brave old captain named Marcus Vale took her out to meet an entire enemy fleet by himself, and he did something amazing. He decloaked her. He showed her to the enemy, and the enemy turned around and went home without a single shot being fired. That ship right there saved our world." With nothing more than a clever lie and an old captain who was not afraid to die, the children stared at the model of the old warship in awe. "Remember that, children," the teacher said quietly. "Strength is not always about being the biggest or having the most weapons. Sometimes strength is about being patient, about making the other side believe you are stronger than you really are, and then becoming, slowly, quietly, exactly what you said you were. The Persistence taught us that. Captain Vale taught us that. And that is why, even today, when other species in the galaxy talk about humans, the first thing they say is that you should never, ever threaten Earth. The children nodded. They did not fully understand yet, but they would, someday, when they were older, when they served on ships of their own, when they wore the uniform of the Earth Defense Force and watched the stars and remembered the old captain who had stared down 2,000 enemy warships, all alone, in an old ship that everyone thought was nothing. The story of the Persistence and Captain Vale and Admiral Korvash had become legend. But it was more than legend. It was the foundation. It was the moment when humanity stopped being prey and stopped being predator and became something else. Something the galaxy had needed for a long time. Something quiet and watchful and very, very strong. The children left the museum. Outside, the sun was shining on Earth. The blue world that had once been threatened and had defended itself and had grown into something beautiful. The world that had taught the galaxy a single, simple lesson and had spent the next 500 years making sure no one ever needed to learn it again. You get one chance, take it, always take it, because humanity remembers. Humanity prepares. Humanity builds. And humanity does not forgive species who waste the gift of mercy. The galaxy had learned. The galaxy was at peace, and on the edge of that peace, the old warship Persistence still floated in Earth's orbit, 5 centuries old, still operational, still watching, always watching, forever.